Hello, my name's Suzanne Rawlinson and today I'm going to show you how to make some lovely Christmas gift bags using materials that you may have around your house. An awful lot of papers that we use at Christmas, the glitter papers and the foil papers, aren't recyclable, so today we are going to repurpose fabrics that we have around the house. There's an awful lot that you can use on a curtain. You can see here that I've already undone the lining so that we're getting this off separate. And then you've got your curtain tape at the top. Now, curtain tape comes away quite easily, so it's a case of unpicking the tape. You'll actually realise that it's quite satisfying just to be able to rip it all off. It does come off very, very easily. Now, I do have a piece of fabric here from a curtain that I've used earlier, and this is the tape that I took off this curtain. Keep hold of that because we are going to be using that for the bag handles. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut out two pieces of fabric for the main part of the bag, and they are 21 inches wide and 19 inches down, and from there we're going to cut out two little squares and they are 3 inches square. Now what that will actually do is, it doesn't seem to make much sense at the moment, but that's going to form the bottom of the bag and also the sides of the bag, so you'll have a nice 3D shaped bag rather than a flat tote bag, and it'll mean that you can get plenty of shopping in there. The lining of the bag is the next thing that we cut out, and that is slightly bigger. So although the main part of the bag comes to this line here, the lining of the bag goes an extra 3 inches, because what we're going to do is we're going to actually fold that lining over the top of this bag. So to show you how that will work, this is your main bag and the lining itself is longer, so that it'll fold over that bag and give you a nice border and keeps all the raw edges nice and neat inside. We're going to sew down the sides of the bag and across the bottom, but at this stage we're not actually going to be doing anything with those little corners that we've cut out. I'm going to press these seams open, and that makes it nice and smooth on the other side of the fabric. So press them open, and because we are lining the bag, it just means that they're going to be quite nice and protected. If you have an overlocker, you can press them open and then overlock together, and that will make them a little bit more secure, but that just means that you've got a nice flat surface on the other side. So we've pressed these open and we've pressed the side seam open, and these are the corners that you've cut out. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn the bag sideways, and we're going to nip that so that it actually gives you a line that you can sew along. So this is your baseline and this is the side line of the bag, and we're going to get those together, and we're just going to pop a little clip in there so that it keeps it in place while you're sewing. So I'll pop one in the corner as well, and also at the other end, and then we're ready to sew that. There we go, ready to sew. Now what you've got to remember is to make sure that you leave a nice seam allowance. So it's going to be a 1 centimetre seam allowance, and you start at this side here. So it's right at this point here, not down here. Because we've got to make that a nice, safe bottom of the bag. So pop your needle in, do a couple of stitches backwards, just to make it nice and secure, and then sew along. As you get to that next clip, take that out, and that will mean that this is still lined up nicely. And then take the last one out, and again make sure you come in a nice straight line, so you've got 1 centimetre all the way across the bottom of there, and secure it. Okay, snip the ends off, keep it nice and tidy, and then I'll just show you when you turn the bag the right way round. Gives you a nice corner on the bag. So we folded that through, and you can see because you put that clip in place, you've got a really nice join there, and that gives you a nice neat finish. Now what that's actually done is it's given you a more of a 3-dimensional look to that. So it's given you the base of the bag and then the sides, and what I'll do is I'll just pop a few clips in to show you what that will look like. So we'll just pop a few clips in there just so you can see where the structure is, and across there, and you can see that that's actually starting to take shape. Right, so to give the bag some structure, what I've done is I've clipped those seams in place, and we're just going to put just 1/2 centimetre of sewing down there. And you do that on each edge so that you've got a really nice defined shape to the bag. So I've done exactly the same with the lining. I've sewn down the sides, I've sewn across the bottom, and I've sewn up this side as well. Right, what we're going to do now is something that you don't always do with bag steps, but I find it really, really useful. So that's the base of the lining going on to the base of that. And we're going to pop that there. And all that's going to do is it's going to hold that lining in place. Right, so we've got 2 pieces of bag now. We've got the main bag and we've got the lining, and we've secured the corners together. And I'm going to fold that over the edge of the bag like that. And I'm going to pin that in place. And what that actually does is, if we do that all the way around, that gives a really nice finish to the edge of the bag. Right, so what I've done here is I've cut a piece of curtain tape, and I've cut that 23 inches long because that's the size that I want to use. I've cut a piece of fabric which matches the lining of the bag, and that's 4 inches wide by 24 inches long, because that means that that can be encased inside. And pop your pins in. We're going to sew that close to the edge, and it will keep it nicely in place. And what we're going to do is we're going to slide that inside, right side down. So that goes right to the top edge, and that's 2.5 inches down from there. And go along here, and I'm going to go over the bag handle. And right over to the other side where we put the other bag handle in as well. And we've flipped the handle over, and a nice secure stitch to finish. Right, so that bag's gone off to be pressed, but this is one that I completed earlier. I've also popped a little bow on the front of that one to make it a little bit more festive. And now that's something useful to give to somebody as a gift, or with a gift in, or maybe for storing your Christmas decorations in after Christmas. So before you think about throwing your fabrics or your garments away, it's a really nice idea to think of how you can repurpose and recycle them.